I'm sitting outside a few hours after the podcast you're about to see with Bryan Reeves. I'm sitting outside the lake, and there's huge birds in the sky, and like I'm talking humongous, like heron, egrets, hawks, could be a bald eagle, don't think so, don't have contact in, but large, very large bird, whitehead. Maybe. What do you think? I don't know. Do they do bald eagles in South Carolina? I went paddleboarding this morning. I burst into tears. I fucking burst into tears. I'm so happy. So happy. I am a porch person, but I'm also a lake person. And it's just so good reconnecting with Bryan, who I've known for so long. I think a decade. And to watch his incredible evolution and the deepening of his vulnerability and impact. Like, just like I always say, like deeper roots, higher shoots. Like, that's how I always see my dear friend's evolution. And we talked about the allowance, and that when we have such high expectations, unrealistic expectations, and if I can't get it perfect, I'm not even going to try. There's no room for creativity. There's no room for innovation. There's it's in the unknown and uncertainty that new life arises. Eros, life force energy, sacred sexual energy arises. And so I'm so grateful to have this conversation with him. And even where I am right now has arisen out of the unknown. I didn't know I was going to go live at my girlfriend's in North Carolina. I didn't know I was going to fall in love with a man in South Carolina. I didn't know I'd find this awesome property right on the water to do all my PSI VIPs with, or regular VIPs and all the things. But here I am. And it's all arisen. And I'm so happy. And it came out of the messiness. My God, the last 4 months have been messy. Shifting business and money and all the rest of it. It's given me a greater appreciation that when things are falling apart, maybe they're actually falling into place. Maybe they're being, torn apart to be put together in an even higher, evolved way. And I think you're absolutely going to get this message out of this upcoming podcast with the incredible dear friend, Bryan Reeves. Welcome to Intimate Conversations, Soul Medicine. Intimacy is an inside job. Hello and welcome to another amazing episode of Intimate Conversations. Here we are, season 11, Soul Medicine, with my soul brother, Bryan Reeves, Bryan with a Y. And this month we're going to be talking about vulnerability, specifically badass bravery and true belonging. And Bryan has this incredible community, Elevate Men. It's all about deep brotherhood. I got shivers already talking about it. So this is going to be an amazing conversation about what he's up to. And just another testimony to our dear friendship after so many years. It's just so good to be with you. Let me tell everybody who you are if they don't already know, which I can't imagine, but here we go. He is a former U.S. Air Force captain, and now he's an international coach and blogger whose blogs, videos, online courses, and books have been experienced by over 30 million people in every country in the world, except for North Korea, apparently.
As far as we know.
As far as you know, he has worked and studied with the top spiritual teachers of our time, including Marianne Williamson, David Deida, Byron Katie, Eckhart Tolle, and others. And with a master's degree in human relations, he now coaches men and women to create thriving lives and relationships. He also has a thriving life and relationship. So this is a man who walks his talk. And please check out his book, which I have, the podcast, Men This Way, which I've been so blessed to be on.
Yes.
And his new book, Choose Her Every Day or Leave Her, bryanreeves.com with a Y. It'll be in the show notes. And also we're going to be talking about his course, Elevate, bryanreeves.com/elevate. So first and foremost, hi.
Hello.
How are you? How are you?
I am riding the roller coaster of life. Yeah, it's been I know you've been through so much since our last connection. Boy, I've been through so much.
Mm.
But what else did we come here but for to experience the thrill of the ride?
Yeah, totally, totally. I don't normally start podcasts like this, but because I love you and know you for so long, let's practice this.
Mm.
Um, a thought in your head, a sensation in your body, a truth in your heart. So, what is the thought in your head that you want to tell me and my world?
Oh goodness, I guess the thought that's alive for me right now is um I really do have a I want people to know that I really do have a beautiful life and beautiful wife and everything's working great and
Mm.
boy, there's still room for so much sadness and challenge at times and life is still messy
Yeah,
and we don't get to escape that. None of us do.
thank you. Before we go to the next question, a reflection. Remember one of the last podcasts where you asked me how my son was, and I knew that you really cared because
Hmm.
it's now been 3 years since I've spoken with him, 3.5 years.
Hmm.
So, thank you for always making it a safe space on all of our conversations to be
Hmm.
real. Yeah,
How old is he now?
20.
Wow. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. He's now a man. I saw him when he was, well, not that he was a boy before, but like he's an adult. So
Yeah.
when I see him again, he will be an adult.
Wow. Well, I do look forward to hearing of that moment.
You will hear it all the way in Texas. I will yell so loud.
I,
Let me tell you, I will be so happy.
I believe it.
Oh, happy tears, though, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next question. Something we hold
Yeah.
in common is the capacity to be embodied
Mm.
in our evolution, not just smarter and cognitively analyzing everything. So I think a sensation in the body is a indication of truth. So tell me a sensation in your body right now.
I've, I a number of things. Well, I feel a little bit of moisture on my hands, a little bit of sweaty palms, and but I feel deeply tender in my heart, in my chest. I just feel deeply tender.
Mm,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. And maybe to the degree you want to share the next question, tell me a truth in your heart. Maybe the tenderness wants to talk through your heart. What would it like to say?
I guess that it's okay to not have it all figured out, or to not even have any of it figured out, to
Mm,
not know where this all goes, to it's okay to
wow.
not know.
Thank you. Thank you. My my safety has always been, could I figure it out?
Mm.
Could I have clarity? Could I figure it out? Could I be 3 steps ahead and then I'll be safe? Once I'm safe, could I be good enough? Nice mug.
Trout mug,
Trout mug.
trout mug.
Um, and so to release safety from what we can see and control, apparently not, to release that need to understand or to figure it out and to drop into that sense of internal security that come what may, I got this. Always have and always will. Like, talk to us about that.
I'm pushing 50. I'll be 50 in less than a year. And I'll tell you, I think, I bet a lot of men can relate to this. I've done most of my life alone in a way. I mean, surrounded by people,
Yeah.
but alone. And so I've lived with the burden of I have to figure this out. It's all on my shoulders,
Thank you. Yeah.
right? Nobody's going to save me. So I better just be about saving myself and on and on and on and on. And that is a lonesome and inevitably exhausting place to live in.
Mm.
And the last, I don't know, what am I? I'd probably say the last 8, 9 years, I've really spent a lot of conscious, intentional time like cultivating community around me.
Yeah.
And when I say community now, in my 20s and 30s, community meant lots of women.
Hmm.
Not just intimate, but friends, women around whom, okay, I can relax, I can feel seen and loved and accepted and embraced, all the things. I got three sisters, two moms, like that's comfortable for me. But men, not so much.
Mm.
And so the last 8, 9 years, I've spent so much time and energy and focus and intention, actively, consciously seeking to create a community of men
Yeah.
with whom I can relax and be myself and let my guard down, my masks down, and bring my, both my challenge, but also my tender heart,
Yeah.
and be held, not be made fun of, not be dismissed or demeaned in some way,
Yeah.
and be supported and challenged in the ways I need to be challenged, but not disrespected in the ways that nobody wants to be disrespected.
Right. Right.
And so, even as I'm, I've this last year, I've, gone through so much, and I'm not fully ready to talk about a lot of that publicly. I
Yeah.
mean, my wife and I are good, we're okay,
Yeah.
but life has thrown some challenges at us that, um, I think in the past, not that they would have broke me, but they would have shut me down big time.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah.
Just shut me down,
Yeah.
you know. And now, because I have a community, particularly of men, and also in my wife,
Yeah.
people that I don't have to carry these burdens alone anymore.
Yeah.
And not knowing how it goes, while still an edge, I love to know how things are going to go. I love to think I know how things should go, or but not having people around me that I know can hold me emotionally, mentally, can
Yeah.
help me bear the load.
Yeah.
Oh, I get, helps me just surrender into it, and allow life to have its way with me.
Yeah.
Um, um, Not from a place of I have no power, but partnership. Okay, I'm a
Yeah.
participant in this. I'm neither at the mercy of everything, but nor am I the controller of
Yeah.
perhaps anything. So,
Sweet
you know,
spot.
it's kind of a sweet spot, and it allows me to then, just when I have a tender heart, I don't have to come onto your podcast and pretend everything's fantastic and, rah rah, roses roses, glory glory, fantastic, triumph triumph, and you just be like, look,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm going through some shit, and I feel tender around it, and I feel emotional around it,
Yeah.
and um, I'm okay, only because I feel supported. I have support for the people
Yeah.
around me, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what comes up for me in your question.
Thank you. Thank you. Love you.
Thank you.
This idea of surrender into partnership in a deeper way. For me, it's a surrendering of my ego will to divine will. It's I'm defining my worth based on other ways. Like I used to define my worth, what I could accomplish or solve, or
Yeah.
how I could create a result, or these kind of things. And it's been terrifying. I mean, I'm only 4 months 4 months away from almost declaring bankruptcy, two
Mhm.
companies falling. I overcommitted with both the app and my other company.
Mhm.
Couldn't, and I was just exhausted and paying everybody else to save the world. And I
Mhm.
still think it was a great idea, but it didn't have legs, and I didn't know what I was taking on, and I didn't hire
Yeah.
the right developer and all the things.
Yeah.
And as I let it fall and restructured it, I ended up doing debt consolidation. And I told my staff, this month I'm paying you half. I'm breaking the contract. You may leave. And Bryan, I was confident they would all go.
Mm.
Not one of them left.
Mm.
They said, we're in this with you through the hard times and the great times. What do we need to do?
Wow.
How do we need to shift this? I got some of them some part-time jobs on the side while I figured things out. And I realized my worth was pretty low. my self-worth was pretty low. I really thought they were just with me for I mean, they liked me. I get they like me,
Mm-hmm.
but I really thought they were there for the paycheck. And if things got tough, they wouldn't be there and I would be all alone. And it
Mm.
has been embarrassing, challenging, uncertain.
Yeah.
But the biggest gift, I think, was, oh my God, I didn't know that I really did have a family around me
Mm.
and they really do have my back. And then as I surrender ego will into divine will, it's not like this thought of the universe.
Mm.
Oh no, I let go. It was there. I went from Wyoming to North Carolina. Now I'm in South Carolina. Like something else is guiding and I'm showing up
Mm.
doing the fucking
Yeah.
hard work and the hard conversations and the
Yeah.
rest of it, but
Yeah.
it's coming together in my evolution. So talk to us about the letting go, the partnership, the divine, all the things.
Well, I just want to first though acknowledge, Alana, I think it speaks to the depth of your heart and your commitment to finding those sweet spots of I think most people play the game of life. They're either I'm completely in control and in power here, or I have no control and I'm powerless. So they abdicate responsibility, or they, you know, and obviously neither of those are winning strategies. And I think, I think I think a profound reason you and I've stayed in connection all these years, and even when we first met, we're just like, oh my God, tribe,
Yeah.
soulmate.
Yeah.
There was that mutual, there's a recognition I could see in you. Wow, here is a woman who is extraordinary, not in the ways that just, sort of society thinks a woman is extraordinary. Oh, she's beautiful, or she's rich, or she's whatever it is. But here is a woman who is extraordinary in the depths of her commitment to live that heart-centered
Mm.
life in partnership with, I mean, all the things that you went through with your son, being a stand for something that someday
Mm-hmm.
he will step into,
Yeah.
right? Being an invitation for him to show up, not as his lesser self, and not as some grandiose self, not as a weaker self or a grandiose self, but to for lack of better language, to come correct,
Yes.
right? To come true. And
Yes.
and look, he's young, he's a teenager. I know there were other influences there that were not giving him good guidance and leadership, but there's going to come a day when that invitation that you are a living embodiment of,
Yeah.
the light bulb's going to go off, and he's going to go, holy shit, I can't believe I missed all those years,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Thanks. Yeah.
And so you're the people that you're I don't know. I love to think of business as not just a place where we make money, but it's a place where we all get to do work we love and our families get fed.
Yes.
That supports an ecosystem. And so, knowing that your team is rallied around you and stuck with you, I think again is testimony to what you embody, what you offer. Is tragically, it's rare. It
Thank
should
you.
be common, but it ain't.
Mm.
And so I want to just start there by acknowledging you
Oh,
in all
thank you,
that.
my brother. Thank you. Thank you for seeing me. That feels really good.
Yeah.
Mm.
Now, letting go. Boy, surrender, letting go. I think, I used to have this mantra, and it still lives inside of me, but I used to really be active in practicing it. I mean, 15, 20 years ago. And it was this: the universe is constantly conspiring to bless me.
Mm.
I just got to get out of the way and let it happen.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I did a vision quest on a mountainside in the south of Chile. Same. I was probably 30, maybe 20, 31, 30. I can't remember, but
Wow.
almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And I spent 4 days in one spot with no food, no water, no shelter, just sitting on the side of a mountain, a forest covered mountain in the
Wow.
trees,
Wow.
watching life happen all around me.
Mm.
And one of the things that really leapt out at me in that experience,
Yeah.
first off, I had no idea how long a day was. When you don't have anything to read, nothing to do, no tasks, no phone calls to answer, no emails to get to, no, I don't know, TV to watch, nothing, no distractions. Damn, a day is long. And the night's even longer,
I bet.
you know?
All the
Like,
sounds. Yeah.
so, um, but what really leapt out at me after my 4 days spent in that one spot is yeah, I remember watching, there was this one moment where a beetle, I saw it flying towards me from deep in the woods, and I just watched it come at me, and it buzzed right past me and kept going.
Oh,
it didn't it didn't seem to care one way or the other that I was there.
wow.
I remember hearing the wind just blow through the trees. How many people had sat in this spot and done a vision quest before me, and how many will come after, and yet the trees were just there blowing, doing their thing.
Wow.
I remember hearing there were eagles in that area, and I remember hearing the wind. They would swoop down near the top of the trees, and I would hear the wind rustle through their feathers, and
Oh,
it was just
who is it?
I just life was working
Ah,
without any intervention from me.
say that one more time, please. Life was, yeah.
Life was working,
Yes.
and it required no intervention from me. In fact, I was quite aware that anything I might do would only just interrupt the flow of things.
Right.
I went into this vision quest thinking I need to learn something. I need an insight. I need to learn something. And I came out of that vision quest and thinking, wait a second, I need to unlearn
Yeah, yeah, nice.
lots of things.
Yeah. Whew.
And look, it's a lifelong practice. I have certainly not mastered that, but remembering that I at best I'm in partnership with life. At best, at worst, I'm at war with it.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's usually when I'm trying to assert some kind of control or dominance, or I know how things must go here, and I'm acting from that place. I'm at war with life
yeah,
pretty much. When I'm my most powerful, I'm my most competent and capable and skillful. I mean, in my work, in my relationship with my wife, particularly
mm,
when I'm practicing partnership. Like, okay, um, how do I serve this moment, not necessarily direct it and control it.
wow. Guide.
Not that there's not a place for giving direction in a moment. Of course, there's all kinds of opportunity for that, but I've always got to be checking myself. Am I just trying to control and push this in a direction because I'm afraid,
Yeah, yeah,
out of my own fear of loss, or fear of lack of worthiness, whatever? Am I doing this out of a wounding,
yep,
or just a stressful, fear-filled thought?
yep,
Things rarely go well when that's my motivation,
yeah,
right? Or am I genuinely assessing, being attuned to, the forest around me?
yeah.
And am I working in partnership with the forest so that I get to live here, but I'm also not destroying the ecosystem? And I mean that also with my wife. I mean, am I attuning to my wife? Not that I'm therefore doing everything she wants me to do.
No,
That
no.
that doesn't work. But am I attuning to both what I need or want and desire, and also what she genuinely needs and wants and desires, like that? Oof, boy, that's
The lifelong practice right
a
there.
lifelong practice. Exactly. Yeah.
Stay there for a second because your relationship, you and Sylvia, are so inspiring to me. This idea, and I always see it like two lines being transactional. We
Mm,
do something to each other, we take something from each other, right? And then we ascend to this place where it's like a figure eight. Like I'm whole and full, and from wholeness and fullness, I attune
mm,
and I don't lose myself
yeah.
as I contribute to you. And you receive in wholeness even more than you might have ever received before. So something in you's even awakened more. So then you're even more whole as you give
Mhm.
back to me, not losing yourself, but getting up under me. And
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
this, I've, those are the words I'm using. Tell us more about this attuning to the forest of her, of your relationship, while
Yeah.
not losing
Yeah.
the glorious sovereign being of love that you are.
Yeah, well, that is a dance, and it is a messy dance at times. It is stepping on each other's toes regularly. It is stumbling. It is forgetting the move and, dancing at a different cadence. It's messy,
Mm,
which is why I think, though, it's of vital importance that we cultivate the capacity to be present in the moment, to really see what's going on here. Because when we don't do that, we don't even realize we're dancing the dance so poorly. We just keep doing it.
correct. Yeah.
And so, Sylvie and I were, we're both. I think one of the things that makes our relationship genuinely, and again, I wish it wasn't this way, but I don't know, extraordinary is the right word, but maybe rare. And it
Yeah.
shouldn't be. I'm not saying this like we're special. We've inherited some divine thing. Not at all. I think it's just, our willingness to constantly lean into
Yeah. Yeah.
the challenges that arise, not in an adversarial way, but in a in
Yeah.
a in a way that we're always wanting to come back as quickly as possible into connection and partnership.
Yeah.
And we're very different people, her
Mm,
and I. We have some every couple is going to have some big gaps between them.
mm,
And some of those are unbridgeable.
yeah.
Some of those may even be cause for not being together,
Yeah.
right? Regardless, every couple is going to have those. It's a question of how do we learn to live with them in
Mm,
a way that is not adversarial again. And so, and Sylvie and I are 1,000% committed to not living in an adversarial stance. Now, do we go there sometimes? Definitely,
mm,
but we don't usually stay there more than 5 or 10 minutes.
mm.
In past relationships, Alana, I would stay there for years.
Yeah. Oh, hello. You know me.
Years.
Well,
The
yeah.
entire relationship was adversarial
Yeah.
for
Yeah. Yeah.
years.
Yeah.
And, Sylvie and I, God bless us, I think we've just, I mean, life has just shaped us such that
Mm,
we're not playing that game anymore. Like, we both are very opinionated, and we have our own stance. We have our own sensitivities. We have our own, even our dreams and visions that sometimes don't align
mm,
quite so
mm,
perfectly,
mm.
and the even the drive to find the overlap. Okay, where do we share? That
Yeah.
also can be really challenging,
Yeah.
but we are just through and through committed to finding our way together in partnership.
Mm,
Yeah,
mm.
and that
Yeah.
makes all the difference.
Wow. As I was listening to you, I was like, what is the presupposition of the ability to lean into challenges that arise? What is the presupposition of choosing not to be adversarial in the face of different opinions or sensitivities? Like, and it sounds like because come hell or high water, we are finding our way in
Well,
partnership. We've
yeah,
burned the
and
bridge. We're doing that. Like, is that what would you say?
well, the alternative is the relationship's going to suck.
Yeah. Yeah.
The alternative is I'm miserable and pissed off all the time and resentful and suck. The alternative is suck.
Yeah.
The alternative is
So it's a
this
technical term.
sucks, and I do not want to live a life
Yeah.
that sucks. I don't want to have a relationship that sucks. Like, that's the alternative. Either it sucks or you lean
Find a way.
in and
Yeah.
do the work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
partnership, not adversarial
Yeah.
stance.
What do you think? This is for those that are listening that are not seeing me right now. So my hands are facing each other or they're facing like out. Both palms are facing out. So like it's adversarial when it's like who's going to win, who's going to lose, right?
Mm,
Back and forth,
yeah,
right? But as soon as you're shoulder to shoulder, looking at the horizon together, palms are facing out to the world. To me, I used to think partnership was like the yin yang symbol, like facing each
mm,
other, and
mm,
I've somehow got to make them get me, or I've got to
mm,
acquiesce to them. But as soon as I've been seeing partnership as this side by side thing,
mm,
it helps me, anyways,
mhm.
find my way in partnership a lot better because
Yeah,
there's nothing to win. There's no winning
right.
here. Like it's a we. It's not a win lose anymore. It's like
Yeah,
together.
yeah.
Um, what are some practices to become shoulder to shoulder looking at the horizon together for
Well,
you to,
I love your representation of that, and I do wonder. I guess in the way that it occurs for me is I think, again, I just may have a little different uh, way of relating to that, the hands
Yeah.
and the, but I
Yeah.
think because what I'm noticing is like when Sylvie and I get rooted in something that we maybe can't bridge
Yeah.
in a moment. I mean, it could be anything. I don't know. It could be she's upset that I ate a piece of her hamburger. She's
Stop
she's she's
that,
got
Brian.
she's got some food aggression. That woman. She's got some food aggression.
Fucking
No,
hamburger.
no, 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 no. To her, I'm not kidding, but also look, I own a lot of responsibility. I'll say I'm not hungry, and then she gets the thing, and I want to eat it. So I deserve what's coming for me. But regardless, whatever it is, whether something's tiny like that or something potentially massive, I mean, Sylvie and I moved from Los Angeles to Austin, Texas, two
Yeah.
years ago, and and
Yeah.
and that was a very, very difficult challenge for us. Where and to some degree, it remains something that we're navigating. Where do we live?
Got
That's a
it.
that's a massive challenge a couple may face if they're not both completely aligned in a vision.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so one of the things that is vitally important, though, because what will immediately, in a way, this is the stance I'll take, is I'll immediately go, well, look, side to side, the problem's out there. Let's fight it. Let's go. What's the solution? How do we solve it? It's out
Mm.
there, right? Side to side, looking out. But that never goes well because we're too problem oriented in that initial stance. Not that there isn't a real problem there, a real thing for us to address and resolve, but
Mm.
but where she and I succeed is when we do turn to each other
Mm.
and check in a way of saying like, I can see this is really affecting you.
Mm. Mm.
I really get this is bringing up a lot of fear or a lot of challenge or pain or frustration for both of us.
Mm.
And there's a kind of there's a looking at each other. I guess that's why I just in that moment I'm experiencing like there's a need to be face to face. We can't
Yeah.
stay
Yeah.
there. We can't stay there, and we certainly can't. We can also face off adversarially, and that never
Sure.
works.
Sure. Sure.
But that's the checking in, the attuning to the
Kind of like that Burning Man statue where your back is to each other, but
yeah.
the little ones inside are facing each other like
Oh,
that,
I love that statue. Yeah, it's
right?
such a beautiful representation. The two inner children are
Yes.
like touching fingers while the two adults are sitting back to back in a disconnected state.
Yeah.
Definitely. And it's like, okay, just turning the adult around so that we're also holding each other's child
Correct.
for a
Correct.
moment, and just until, okay, now we're the nervous system resets.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're reminding each other that we're together in this. We're partners in this. Now let's turn outward and because there's
Mm.
plenty of things that need our attention out there. There's a lot of
Yeah.
from finances to healthcare to again where to live to what
Mm.
to eat and make sure that I get my portion so I don't have to eat hers and make her mad at me. Things like, I mean, there's so but that step of turning towards and is of vital importance. Just in the
Oh,
moment, in the
well,
moment of disconnect.
I so love this. I learn so much every single time I ever connect with you. So thank you. Because you're right. I don't think now that I'm hearing you, and I'm seeing this figure eight loop,
Yeah.
maybe the 0 point in the middle is that turning towards.
Mm,
And then as you go out to either side,
I
we can
like
hit
that.
together. So it's not an either or, it's a both, or it's an and.
And it's movement, right? It's like
Correct.
there's this fantasy that I'm going to get to that point and I'll live there forever and we'll
Yeah.
never have a problem ever again.
That's
And
so
that's just
bullshit. Bullshit.
that's to quote our president, that's malarkey. I think
Thank
that's a
you.
word. That's malarkey. That's just bullshit,
Correct.
to modernize that term. It's no, I think like the coming out, like the leaving that 0 point right in the middle where we are one, and then we come back out into my own experience, my own thoughts, my own things, and then we can kind of get far from each other in a moment.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think if we don't turn back towards each other,
Mm.
we keep going, and you know this acutely well. I mean, so many couples are living in chronic disconnection.
Yeah.
Chronic. I mean, couples been together 40, 50 years even. I'm sure you've worked with couples that have been together for decades
Decades. Yeah.
and haven't felt connected maybe ever, really.
Oh my God, just to watch a couple do a dyad for the first time in 28-year marriage, and they're still fighting about where to live, just like you were referring to
Yeah,
before.
yeah.
And they never considered the idea of when somebody talks, just saying thank you and
Mm,
listening, which doesn't even mean you agree. It just means
right,
you're not going to interrupt and put your opinion down, your strategy and
right,
your mission, right? And
yeah,
then within an hour, for the first time in 28 years,
yeah,
they were on the same
right,
page
right, yeah,
because the underlying value was family, but they could never get there. So
right.
maybe this is a beautiful way to shift into this idea of belonging and true belonging
Mm,
with men. But let's start with
yeah.
self and with relationship. I can't quite remember Brene Brown's quote, but something about belonging means that you're part of something, but not at the detriment of losing yourself. Something along those lines. Do you remember? Maybe you can say it better than I can.
I don't know
Right.
that quote.
Okay. But this seems like part of what we're talking about.
Yeah,
Like you're a part of a larger brotherhood, as we
yeah,
talk about
yeah,
elevate and the men that you're working with, but you're part of a partnership with her,
yeah,
not at the detriment of losing your own truth
right. Yes.
or connection to your own heart.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that's really come clear to me in the last many years working with men, particularly,
Yeah.
specifically men in conversations just with other men, not even when their wives or children are present, or is how many men are living a sort of exile
Mm.
in their own lives,
Exile from
from
everything.
from everything, from their marriages, from their children, from maybe even their
Self.
workplaces.
Oh,
Well, all of it certainly stems from self, not
yeah.
feeling like I even belong in my own body.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And boy, what a painful place. What a painful place to live. And you look, I mean, I can, I've been with my wife now for 8 years, and there's certainly been moments where I felt like, fuck, I don't belong here. I don't, because I can't give her what she wants. That tends to be how it occurs for men. I can't do the thing that they need me to do
So I
for
failed.
everything to be okay.
Yeah. I'm a
You know,
failure or I
I'm a
failed or
failure.
Mhm.
You know, I just learned this today, actually. Richard Reeves, who's a scholar on men's studies and boys, and um, in one of his books, he revealed that the most common word in male suicide notes is worthless.
Wow.
Worthless. I have no worth. I have no value. I don't belong. I live in exile.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and one of the first things that I hear men say when they come into a space where we're having real conversations, where it's safe
Yes.
to be vulnerable, where they really get, because this is the space I stand for, that even if we do judge each other, we are not going to act out of our judgments, and we are not going to speak from our judgments. You know, we are, I mean, look, we're humans. We judge the shit out of everything. That's just comes with the territory. But I am a fierce, ferocious stand for creating safe spaces for men to say the things that they need to say, not to disrespect each other or even disrespect themselves,
Mm.
but to unburden themselves with all that they're carrying that they probably don't have anyone to talk with about.
Yeah.
When men come into that space, one of the first things I hear them say is, my God, what a relief it is to know I'm not alone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Wow.
not alone. I'm not alone.
Yeah.
You know,
Wow.
and he's saying this maybe, usually I do a lot of my work, like many of us do these days, through a Zoom screen. So
Yes.
he's still in his room alone. Like he's
Yeah.
physically isolated,
Yeah.
but emotionally, even intellectually, he's now connected. He feels connected to
Yeah.
something bigger than himself. It's like there's a coming out of exile
Yeah.
into belonging,
Mm.
just through, what we like to call courageous vulnerability.
Yes. Yes. Without obviously saying who says what are some of the things, topics, situations, feelings that men haven't been sharing that they've chosen exile with, they've
mm,
chosen they're worthless as a result, so that some of the listeners, they're like, oh my God, that's me.
mm.
Oh my God, this is what I'm alone with, and I need not be any longer.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm not good enough.
Okay.
You know, one of the best fathers I know regularly tells himself, I'm such a fuck up as a dad.
Ooh, okay.
And he's one of the best fathers I know. Is he perfect? Of course not.
Oh,
I mean, he makes mistakes, he loses his temper, blah blah blah, but he
sure.
beats himself up constantly.
Wow.
Man, I fucked that up. Oh, I wish so
Yeah.
I'm not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's in parenting, even
Mm,
in relationships, same thing though. I'm not good enough. I don't know what she wants from me, and I can't give it to her. Whatever she wants, I can't give it.
mm, mm.
I'm not enough for her.
Yeah.
Right? That not enoughness, that that's a pandemic the world is living inside of right
Yeah.
now that
Yeah.
we don't talk about. Um,
Do you think, Bryan, for me, you know me, intimacy, right?
mhm,
Queen of like PhD and people pleaser, insecure as fuck, like all the things. Um, and to me, when the direction I'm looking to be good enough is outside in,
mm,
I'm destined to fail because I'm a human,
mm,
right? I am perfectly imperfect. There is no way
mhm,
I will ever be enough if I look outside in. I will always let somebody down, mess something up, not follow through. I might be excellent, but not perfect. And so when I turn the tables and I focus on this intimate relationship with ourself
mm,
and that little you, kind of like that statue from the Burning Man, we can become good enough for ourself, whole in ourself, perfectly imperfect, and be at peace with that in ourselves, which allows for, yeah, we still might be disappointed, but we don't go all the way down that hole into I'm not
yeah.
worthy enough and even take our life. So how does it work with the work you do with men in terms of shifting that, not to, I'm good enough and strong enough and God
Right,
damn
right,
it, I love me, right? Like,
right.
so that it's real, sustainable.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that we really make allowance for is being messy and
Yeah.
making mistakes.
Yeah.
We're human. We get to make mistakes, and
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that we're pieces of shit. I mean, a lot of men literally have that story in their head. I'm a piece of shit.
Because I'm not perfect.
They don't even necessarily have an articulation as to why they're a piece of shit. It's just what
Well,
they've ingested over and over and over and over,
yes.
from childhood, from adulthood, from the world around them, whatever. Maybe
Yeah.
they're not succeeding in the ways that they see people on social media succeeding or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, like um so one of the first things that we dive into is the mess, just the messiness of
Yeah.
life. I think in my work as a couples coach and the
Yeah.
book that I wrote, and like I'm such a stand for this is messy. This
Yeah.
work is messy. You're
Yeah.
never gonna get it right. You might get it right for a minute,
Yeah.
but
If you're lucky.
but wait another minute and it's gonna be fucked all over again.
Shit show. Yeah. Total.
That's life in a human body,
So
so
true.
so you're 100% right. I mean, it's getting right with myself, like, okay, I'm allowed to make mistakes. It's okay that I don't make the money I think I should be making. It's okay that I'm so often having this conversation with men, and particularly in relationship work,
Mm.
reminding men that you're particularly if you're in relationship to a woman who is connected with her emotions and who maybe feels more than you do, which is
Mm.
common.
Mm.
You're regularly gonna let her down
Mm.
by your inability to feel what she feels.
Mm.
That is often going to be a disappointment to her. And if she is aware of this and skillful, she may be able to hold that in a way that doesn't make you feel rejected or not good enough. But
Emasculated. Yeah.
few women really know how to do that well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and all of us, I mean, I think anyone who even knows how to do that well, there's that initial spark, that initial moment of, oh fuck, you're
Yeah.
not giving me what I want,
Yeah.
and that's just so human.
Yeah.
So I think it's so important, yeah, that good enough story,
Mm.
that we learn how to hold that, how to work with that in
Yeah.
ways that don't, like you said, it doesn't take us down the rabbit hole into shame,
Yeah.
because what does shame do? But it collapses our bodies. I mean, shame is just, it's so damaging
Yeah.
to the relationship. Because, I'll have men in our work, I'll have men actually embody shame. What does it look like in your body when you feel
Yeah.
shame? And
Yeah.
always shoulders over, head sunk. And I'm like, okay, now imagine you're sitting in front of your partner and your shoulders are down and I mean, what do you want from her in that moment? What is she expected or supposed to do? She's
Yeah.
either going to mother you to
Yes.
try to pull you out of your shame, and she doesn't want to be your mom,
No.
or she's going to withdraw, resent you, shut down herself because you're not even here. You're in your own
Mm.
downward spiral into
Mm.
unworthiness.
Yeah. Unless she knows how to be the masculine presence or spaciousness, just to be and not judge.
Exactly. Or she,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like it, so, but that's one of the things that men carry. I'm not good enough in all the
Yeah.
ways that shows up.
Yeah.
I think another story, another pain that men carry is I'm alone.
Mm.
I'm alone in this.
Mm. Mm.
Nobody's going to help me figure this out. If anything, the whole world is my adversary, including my partner.
Right. Right.
I think a lot of men, and I can experience this too. Like we want to do things in a certain way because we think that will make life easier for everyone. But what do we have? I mean, it could be like driving a car. This is so common. Like a lot of men, some women too, but certainly me. I like to drive fast. I want to get places faster. Time is precious. I don't want to spend it in the car. we got a life to live, and I don't want to live it in the car. Well, my wife doesn't like it when I drive fast. She doesn't like it. I'm super comfortable. She's not. So there's a part of me that can be irritated and look at her as an obstacle.
Sure.
Like she's my adversary. She's getting in the way of what I believe needs to happen so that life functions efficiently.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it could be tiny moments like that, or it could be big ones and big decisions and choices like where we live. Same. That story, well, I'm in this on my own. I'm by myself. Nobody's going to really help me, support me. It's all on my shoulders.
Yeah. So you're not in partnership with even life.
Not in partnership with life, not in partnership with my wife, not in partnership with, my colleagues. I'm in competition with everybody. It's exhausting, but so many men are carrying that story. I'm alone in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's a lot of cynicism, I think, also amongst men. I certainly run into this as a men's coach, and it's okay. I understand it. But the cynicism that people only just want something from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody's really here to help me or to serve me.
Right.
They'll help me if I give them something. Everything's transactional.
Just like I had that fear when everything was the shit show 4 months ago. I was there too.
Right.
So it doesn't even, it happens to women too.
100%. It's like the human condition.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on, but
no, but those are great
themes.
I love that you make allowance for, so in the face of I'm not good enough, you make an allowance for messy, even though I might not have knocked it out of the park with that job or recent launch or time I made love to her or whatever it's going to be, or took her for a drive or whatever. I like to end the sentence, even though blah, blah, blah. I still love and accept myself.
Yeah.
Because it seems that we can hold it all. We can hold the polarity of it all. Like if we're striving that we have to be good enough, that's like, whatever, we're going to fail all the time. So that doesn't quite
it's a
match
moving target.
Right. And only focusing on all the ways that we messed up is going to turn us into a victim or shame, like you just said. But even though blah, 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 I love and accept myself. To me, that just evens out the playing field. And now I'm back to presence, choice. Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that.
Another thing that again, particularly for men, maybe for women, you tell me if this resonates too, that you kind of put on the end of the sentence is, and I don't have to prove myself.
Oh, beautiful.
A lot of men carry a story that I constantly have to prove my worth, prove my manhood, prove my earning capacity, prove my, ability to score the touchdown, to be the one who wins the game, whatever that looks like, prove my worth.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole work of my intimacy work is we're miswired, gauging our worth from the outside in, not the inside out, which would make us always prove ourselves. And I did that. I did the cum laude of Ivy League school and all that, I
Mhm.
was on that train. And even letting go of the app was hard because I was still connected to this, even a more spiritual, I need to prove myself to make a difference to humanity,
Yeah.
right? I needed to save the dating industry or whatever. I was still caught on it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I get
I,
it. Yep.
I so get it.
Yeah.
I'd love to know, I'm watching the time and I haven't talked to you in forever and I could talk to you for 3 more hours, but I need to just wrap this up quickly. Um, what does it look like at the end of a year? And a man's been in, so it's like 10 men are in this, right? This,
Mm.
the Elevate
Yeah.
program.
Yeah.
Just pick anyone that just sparks your heart right now, why you're so fucking glad you do this work. And when
Mm.
you see a man's life turn around and his relationships and family or health or
Mm.
money or whatever it
Yeah.
is turn around, and you're just like, damn it, I love what I do.
Yeah.
Who comes to mind? What story comes to mind?
Oh man, yeah. One just leaps out of me is actually a man that I'm working with this year, and we're not even through the year yet.
Yeah.
But want to how do I tell this in a way that I don't I just want to keep his
Anonymity.
anonymity.
Yes.
I guess what I would say is, here's a man who has, to the outside looking in, he's got everything.
Got it.
He has the job, the prestige. He has one of the most exciting jobs on the planet, literally. Like he's crushing it in life. It's the kind of thing that when he tells you what he does, everyone leans in and goes, "Oh my God, tell me more."
Right.
Like I want to hear all about that. And if
Yeah.
everyone around him disappears because he's got the most exciting story in the room, for example,
Yeah.
and he's, succeeded, he's financially successful, raised a family, been married for 30 years, and yet, um, boy, was he paralyzed coming into this experience, not trusting of men.
Whoa. Okay. That's
And
a big
and
thing too. Yeah.
and by the way, the work he does is dominated by men. It's overwhelmingly a male industry.
Okay.
Doesn't trust men. Most men don't. Most men don't trust men. Well, this was certainly his story. He doesn't trust men. Again, feeling exiled in his own family.
Wow.
You know, meaning, he'd been focused on work for so long
Yeah.
that he didn't really feel like he had a place with
Sure.
the children,
Mm.
even with his wife.
Wow.
Didn't have a place to really share his needs, talk about his needs in the intimacy, or just, again, feeling exiled, dead inside.
Yeah.
Not able to really feel. One of the words that we talk about in our work is enlivened.
Nice. I love that word.
Enlivenment.
Yep.
I would say, in my experience, so few men, and it certainly was true for this man, so few men feel genuinely enlivened
Yeah. Yeah.
in their daily lives. We
Mm.
tend to seek, big pinnacle experiences, a lot of intensity, because we feel something inside
Right.
of massively intense, extreme sports or skydiving
Mm.
or porn, sex. Um, and so, this man didn't feel enlivened. I mean, so paralyzed, not feeling enlivened, not trusting men, feeling isolated and alone,
Yeah. Yeah.
numb, feeling numb in his life,
Sure. Sure.
very disoriented, even though he'd had all this success, just like, what do I do with my life and my days?
Mm.
And in just, 6 months, not even the entire year that we go through together,
Mm.
wow, the transformation that this man has, the way he has come alive in his body. I had a
Mm.
beautiful moment with him at our retreat in North Carolina,
Mhm.
standing face to face with him, like growling.
Oh.
It was so delicious, but
Huh.
growling, not as adversaries, but as
Yeah.
as partners in this, and as in this aliveness in our bodies,
Yeah.
and we're doing this practice, and it's not a growling practice. We just happened to be growling in that moment because that's what was coming through, gritting
Yes.
our teeth. And
Yeah.
I think, this is one of the things that men struggle with. We don't know where to put our power. We don't know
Yeah.
where to reveal our bravery.
Wow. Well said.
Where do I be brave in the world?
Yeah.
Where do I be powerful? Most men don't really have an answer to that question that's deeply satisfying.
Mm.
So, here we were. I'll never forget this moment. We're just, growling at each other and just, oh man, like both of us saying to each other, I could fucking kill you, but I will
Yeah.
never kill you because I love you. But push
Wow.
me too far and I'll kill you. It's like that paradox
Yes. Yes.
again, I'm in partnership with you and
Yes.
let's dance. And it's like, wow, like the trust that then gets engendered. You talk about, men now a man being able to trust men.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
We can,
Right.
when we can meet in strength without when we can meet in strength while still knowing you aren't going to try to dominate me. I
Oh.
can't dominate you, but you won't try to dominate me either.
Mm.
Or I won't try to dominate you and you won't try to dominate me either, but we both show up in our strength. Oh, that's delicious. That's a
Right.
special place.
Mm.
And few men ever get to experience that with other
Yep.
men.
Yep. Oh.
So, and seeing this man then come back into his life and the conversations that he's now having that he knows he should have been having a decade ago.
Right. Right. With his
That
kids, with
he
his wife, with himself.
100%,
Yeah.
100%,
Yep.
and able to step into those conversations and to allow it to be messy.
Mm.
To allow it to be messy, to not have to get it right and do it perfectly. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of us paralyze ourselves because if I can't do it perfect, I just won't do it at all.
Right.
Rather than be willing to experiment, to take risks, to try this, and that didn't really go the way I thought it would. Okay, let me adjust.
Mm.
Right. So,
Yeah.
seeing this beautiful man with such a deep heart and so much wisdom, but just seeing him come from a paralysis and an exile,
And
a
numbness.
numbness in his life, to enlivenment and being connected to a purpose that is deeper than his job title.
Thank you. Yeah.
That is magic.
Ooh.
That is so fun to witness.
Oh, your face is adorable right now.
Oh man.
How do you define a purpose deeper than a job title? How do you define that in your men's work?
Yeah, it's a great question. So we do a lot of purpose work in our, purpose. That's a big word that a lot of men get really excited about and frustrated around.
Yeah.
And again, there's a lot of layers to that. I did an interview with a man named Thomas More. You ever heard of that book, The Care of the Soul?
Care of the Soul?
Care of the Soul.
No, I haven't.
Thomas More. Well, he's anyway, I had him on my podcast, and he's a true elder, beautiful psychologist, beautiful man, very wise and thoughtful. And he's like, I wish people would just stop talking about purpose. Like it's just, but what I loved about what he was pointing to actually, and what we stand for in our work, and I've noticed this in my own life, is purpose is like the deepest purpose has never been, okay, I'm going to save the oceans, or I'm going to, learn how to fly planes, or I'm going to, create an app or whatever it is, build a business or impact 1 million people or 17 billion people. That drives me nuts, honestly. We're going to do this by, but rather, because that's a purpose that is so, talk about outward focused. It's so like, it's like I'm only living my purpose if this thing succeeds.
Yes, I get it. I get it.
And what inevitably happens is, even when it's like, first off, we have a hard time knowing if we've succeeded. That thing, even if the app exists, right, or the business exists, or I'm doing the work. Did I succeed in my purpose? Like, and what does that mean if I did? Can I stop now? Do I keep like? Rather, we bring purpose back into an everyday mindset, an everyday presence.
I like this.
Purpose is about waking up every day, not necessarily consciously thinking these things, but living each day from my inspired vision. For example, I have long been committed to being a man who is sourced in love. Everything I do is an act is centered in love. Now, do I succeed at that purpose? Usually, no. So often I do not succeed.
Yeah.
But that is my ideal. That is the thing I'm every day living towards. Every conversation with my wife, every time I do a coaching session, every podcast interview, everything that I write.
Yep.
I'm constantly checking in on myself. am I doing this out of fear,
Right.
out of, some small-minded neediness, or am I
Yeah.
doing this because it serves a greater whole? It serves
Yeah.
in some way my definition, my conception of love,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That is a commitment to a deeper purpose. Again, how that expresses itself through me can look a zillion different flavors.
Love this. We're very aligned, Bryan. To me, it's a touchstone. It's the essence from which my actions arise.
Yeah,
And it's
exactly.
up to me to have
Well
the
said.
awareness
A
and to
touchstone. I like that.
thank you, and slow down into alignment so I can actually hear it. Because I can hear
Yeah.
it from my ego brain and tell myself a story, but that's actually not true. The true, capital T true. It's deeper. And I'm even, and this will be next podcast, because I have a sense it will go like another hour talking about this, but the difference between living from my heart down deeper into my hips. And to me, my soul's essence arises almost like the keel of a sailboat all the way down in the water. And then it arises through an open heart and it ignites my
Mm,
divine mind. There's like an
mm,
alignment
mm.
going on in my body that I've never experienced before. And so where this purpose arises is
Yeah.
down for me in my pussy down there, very down in my hip. So
Yeah.
it's very sacred. And
Yeah.
it's creative life force energy through this lotus flower blossoming
Mm,
heart
mm.
to the world. So
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
thank you.
I'm with you. When I'm just calculating in my head,
No.
it's
Yeah.
but when I'm checking in and
Yeah.
breathing
Yeah.
and again, it's a constant checking in. What is really going on here?
Yeah.
And like you say, sourcing that from a deeper place, then the actions, what springs forward. I never know what's going to come of anything
Right.
ever. But I get the satisfaction of knowing that I am moving in partnership
Yeah.
with my deepest purpose, with which is life's purpose. It's not just
Yeah.
mine.
Oh, and honey, this goes back to the very beginning, letting go of figuring it out, right? Surrendering. When we allow this to come through us, we don't know what's going to happen. And we can then, it's almost like as we go into the unknown, we don't have to be an adversary with the unknown or the adversary with uncertainty.
Yeah.
When we can come from this inner place, what love would do is the highest, regardless of the outcome. And it doesn't take away the pain, doesn't take away the sadness, but it somehow cradles it. Somehow cradles it, I think, as we move forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I love the ship analogy. It's like it's a ship just sailing the seas of life, and
Yeah.
there's going to be currents that go against us at times. There's going to be rocks that we have to be watch out for. We might even hit one of those rocks and have to patch up the hull.
That's right.
But knowing that my ship is upright, the ballast is all as correct as I can have it be, and I'm constantly course correcting.
Correct.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's how I want to go through life.
Yeah. And I'd say you are. Thank you for all your
Thank you.
vulnerability, your honesty, the beautiful work you do with men, the transparency with your beautiful relationship.
Thank you.
And then lastly, I really honor the work you've done with this Elevate. I want people to know bryanreeves.com/elevate. He's
Yes,
beginning
Bryan with a Y.
Bryan with a Y. It'll be in the show notes so that if this program, even though it doesn't start till January, correct?
That program doesn't start till January, but I also have Elevate Your Relationship, which is also a community of men that work with me directly that are
Nice.
specifically relationship focused.
Oh, sweet.
And
Okay, awesome.
that's ongoing. That's now.
Oh, okay, awesome. All right. So either way, it's the same link.
Yeah, you can get to me through my website or through that
Okay,
link. Yep.
fantastic. This last part, I want to acknowledge you for the gentleman that had not trusted men. I'm obviously not a man, but there's a lot of women that I don't trust. And I've been backstabbed by women, and it almost hurts more than it does when a man done me wrong. So I'm wondering, the men who are listening or watching, if you don't trust men, my God, I don't know if there's a more important foundational aspect to one's masculinity. And I'm not a man, but I'm just assuming this, to be able to meet in strength, and I'm going to call it partnership versus strength and domination. That's a paradigm shifter.
Yeah.
That's a paradigm shifter. And that you provide that.
Yeah.
I think that is priceless. I seriously do. Because when I see men at war with themselves and they're not comfortable with women, but they're also not comfortable with men, can we be more alone?
Yeah.
Can we be more alone? So thank you. Thank you for that extraordinary deep work you do.
Yeah.
With couples, obviously, as well, but with men, that's brilliant.
Yeah, thank you for that. And you know, everyone listening should know, like I have my own men's group that I've been a part of for 4 years, and it is a group of strong and beautiful and opinionated and passionate and successful, all the things. And that same thing, getting to show up in my strength. You know, we in my work, we celebrate or we stand for sort of four experiences that men need. One is to be witnessed. One is to be challenged.
Nice.
We need to be supported, and we also need to be celebrated.
Yeah. Nice.
Witnessed, challenged, you know, witnessed, seen in our challenges, seen in the things that we're struggling with, that we're carrying, challenged in the ways so that we don't get away with playing small or living out of integrity with ourselves or our loved ones or the world around us. Supported. Sometimes we need guys, we need someone to pick our asses up or you know, help us out with something, you know, whether that means, you know, hey, help me dig a hole in my backyard, which by the way, my men's group did for one of our guys. We helped him dig a fire hole. It would have taken him 2 days to dig a fire hole in his backyard here in Texas. We crushed it in 50 minutes. Nice. You know, whether so that support in that way or what that can look a million different ways. But we need to be celebrated. We need to, when we succeed in some way, or just, again, it can be little things or big things, but to have other men look back at us, because our fathers rarely, if ever, did this, to have other men look at us and go, dude, I see you. You're a beast. Congratulations. Good on you. Proud of you.
Wow. That
is nectar for men that we don't even know we need.
Wow. I mean, I've heard that word before, but you're a beast. That's fucking hot. I love that. You're a beast. Wow. At my retreats, the last night, it's costume night, and we go out on the town, wherever the hell we are. And it's a celebration of all the work that we did at the retreat. And where are we stepping into from a place of joy, a high vibration of joy. Yeah. So I love that. Yeah. I love what you beasts do together.
Yeah, we do. We get into beast mode. It's fun.
Oh, beautiful. All right. So Bryan with a Y, bryanreeves.com/elevate to connect with this man for the relationship course or the group for men. His book, Choose Her Every Day or Leave. His podcast, Men This Way, all the ways you can be in this incredible man's life. I know there were many, I'm going to call them mic drop moments. We were like, oh God, that really touched me deeply, or that really fired me up. I want you to take a moment after this podcast, and I want you to go put your feet on the earth, or just go out in nature, or just go sit in the closet, whatever you need to do. But take a moment and let it resonate, let it burn, let it sizzle, let it awaken something in you, and then take an action. Certainly take an action and connect with Bryan on his site for sure. But let this conversation literally shift, like we talked about the ship. Change the trajectory of your life. Just 1 degree. You're going to end up someplace different. I promise you. So thank you for the blessing of being with both of us for this hour and a little bit, because I just can't stop talking to my friend. And please allow this conversation to be wind in your wings, because we love you. We show up for you. This is our essence, our purpose. Yeah. So in closing, how would you like to complete our conversation, love?
I just want to tell you that I love you and I appreciate you and I'm grateful for you and I'm grateful for our friendship over these years and that we get to do this in a way that is I certainly nourishing for me. I believe nourishing for you and again, it's just bonus that others get to be nourished by it as well.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Thank you. And even though I'm not sure what's going on, my love is with you both.
Thank you very much.
So it's always there. Yeah. All right. Until next time. Thank you for being on Intimate Conversations. And thank you for the blessing of letting me love the shit out of all of you watching. See you next week on Intimate Conversations. Get out there and make love to life. So it has a little different feel than North Carolina. It's flatter. At least where I am on this lake, it isn't McMansion after McMansion. And the birds, oh my God, huge. So I'm a little laid out on the paddleboard. Normally I'm out super early, but had a late night dancing with my dance instructor and talking with my coaches, my Allana Pratt method coaches, and just the reflection that I'm getting from everyone is that you're calmer, you're more yourself, you're more in your body. And when I think of all the things that I add up to feeling my best, I mean, I still love the slow energy and focus and yumminess of my magic mind in the morning on the porch, in the rocking chair with my fleecy blanket. And oh my God, large bird. Okay, I think they're statues. They're not. Humongous heron right there. And there's a bit of a current here. We're going to go right towards this bird. It might fly right over us. We'll see. And then I think of all of utilizing the PSI protocol to the work that I've already done for years in terms of feeling body sensation and emotions, and with the support of this use of the psychedelic medicine, able to, I'm going to say, collapse this program of hypervigilance into a place of receptivity. And another piece of this is, because the program has fallen, I've been able to not just attract, but receive my man Scott. I couldn't have done that if the program was still in place. And I, even in the beginning of meeting him, I still did more work. Okay, I'm definitely going to paddle a little here because we're going to run into the dog and into the big bird. Sorry, this is a little bit of a wobbly there for us. Okay, let's see if you can see it. And then I'm just reminded of all the work that my dear brother, Bryan Reeves, whose podcast you just watched, all the work that he has done. Okay, can you see it? Is it right there? Can you see it? It's huge. It's a humongous bird. Heron. And the work that he and Sylvie continue to do as a couple and evolve and grow and deepen into this exquisite partnership in the face of not fun, in the face of sad, in the face of messy. And I love that he teaches to his men's work, his Elevate men's program, as well as what he lives in his life, is allowing the messy and not resisting the messy and looking for the gift in the messy. And what if the messy was there to literally awaken dormant evolutionary qualities within you? Like, he's such the embodiment of this. I love that I have such extraordinary colleagues that are like my family. I love that I can, year after year, bring him to you as you watch him evolve in his life, his relationship, his business. So gentlemen, if you are called, do you remember that part in the podcast where he talked about like men trusting men? And if you've never had that, my God, I mean, I can't teach you that. Bryan is a master at this. So, and his retreat in his year program, or retreats, I don't know how many he does, are in North Carolina, where he just came from. So I'm like, yeah, go. So good. So definitely check him out at bryanreeves.com, Bryan with a Y, /elevate if you're interested in the program around relationships or for men specifically. And yeah, get his book, Choose Her, or Choose Her Every Day or Leave Her, I think is the title. I don't have my notes in front of me. I'm out on my paddleboard. And then, of course, his podcast, Men This Way, who I think I'm one of the first women that were ever honored. Normally, it was just interviewing men, so I feel very honored to talk about the power of presence on that podcast. So lots of incredible resources for you, and anything that I can do for you that's in alignment with this intimacy with self. Again, everything we were talking about with Bryan, like if we're looking to the outside to be enough, to feel included, that means we're giving our power away to external circumstances that we can never control. And yet when we find that home within, that enoughness within, that communion within, then we're coming from fullness into all of our relationships. And that's when my experiences, they go from 1 + 1 is 2 to 1 + 1 is infinity. Something incredibly magical, unexpected, surprising awakens within us and within the relationship. So I'm here to support you with that. allanapratt.com /connect is how you reach me. So I'm going to do, oh, look, he's so big. Can you see him? Oh, he's going to fly. Look at that. What a great ending to the video. Ha! I didn't plan. Couldn't even have planned that. I love you so much. Mwah.